I minted my first piece in October and November, which was actually a painting, but then I minted a few other 3D works around that time as well. Yeah,
So
and that's kind of the start of it.
so what are, let's say someone's like, I don't even know what this is. What are NFTs?
So NFTs are a way of verifying original ownership over digital assets.
Okay. So yeah,
So
my producer said that it was kind of like a title or to a car or a deed on a home.
yeah, exactly, right? Because if you think about the ownership of anything, right, it's basically like a verified proof that you own it. So say with your car, right, you have the piece of like you have your registration within the car and within a database on the government's website. So with NFTs, it's that, except it's all user created and verified, not by one body, but by a collective that's all running the same ledger and verifying the same ledger.
What does it mean to mint?
To mint is to attach basically a block of information on the blockchain to an image,
Okay.
and you can actually create that basically like from scratch. And it's a little bit complicated when you kind of get into it. I'm not even fully sure how it totally works, but it's basically
I love to
like when you
like interview the NFT artist who's like, yeah, dude, I don't fucking know.
no, it basically uses data that like the blockchain is basically an immutable, uneditable, never-ending ledger, or like basically it's an only input log of transactions, right? So when you like mint a piece, it's you're submitting a transaction to the blockchain which says, okay, this piece now exists and this is the image that goes along with it, right? So when you do that, it's permanently on the blockchain and it's like set up there as a transaction, and then it keeps track of that kind of just like within the ecosphere, then it's verified just by all the computers running the Ethereum blockchain.
So yeah, what is the blockchain?
So the blockchain is so the blockchain's basically a decentralized autonomous version of the internet where every computer is kind of working together to say like this happened at this time, and then all of the other computers verify it. So that's what gives it legitimacy, I guess, and that's why you can't just say like, oh, I have an Ethereum or I have an NFT. It has to be verified on the blockchain by so many different computers to kind of like, I guess. Does that make sense? Does that cover it?
Yeah, I think so. Where are these computers? It's everybody's computer?
Everybody's computers. So when you hear about people mining Bitcoin or mining Ethereum or mining, whatever, or hosting nodes for money, basically they're the people who are running the blockchain. So there's like, I don't know what the number is, but say there's 100,000 computers worldwide that are all mining Bitcoin. They're the ones that are actually like processing the transactions within the ecosphere to make sure that everything is accurate and verified.
I mean, so this kind of sounds like a natively digital art world. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
seem that different from the traditional art world in the sense that, like, for me, I've always kind of been like, art is a scam in the way of like the prices and the traditional art market. Like, and so it's kind of interesting to see. Like, I like what you said on this NFT Sundays episode about how nothing is valuable unless we decide it is. So
Yeah.
is this like, am I right about any of this?
Well, I mean, if you want to like look at everything for like through like the lens of Marxist theory, right? The only thing that has value is stuff that has effort put into it or has like a non-sustainable resource. But then if you look at it from that angle, all shoes would be worth $5. Like worldwide, all Pokemon cards would be worth 1 cent. Everything would just be the value of its resources plus the cost of manufacturing, right? So art in of itself is theoretically worthless and useless, but it's the cultural and significant value that like curators and collectors and artists put within it that is what gives it value, right? So, you take the Mona Lisa, it's just canvas with paint on it. It's not technically worth that much, but it's one of the most valuable objects we have,
Yeah, I think that's the way of understanding it, is that it's just mostly digital, it's like a digital art world, or is it more merging into like the mainstream art world?
Um, it's tricky, right? Because the way I see it, there's pretty much two different worlds that exist within the NFT space. So there's kind of what the general populace hears about, which is the profile picture craziness, like the
Mm-hmm.
Bored Apes and the crypto punks and whatever. That's one world that kind of exists almost in its own ecosphere, where that makes up probably 90% of all NFTs, right? And then there's the fine art, which is like super rare, Maker's Place, Foundation, whatever, right? All of those kind of exist within their own bubble. And there is crossover, whereas money from one ecosystem can bleed into another or vice versa. But a lot of the culture is pretty separate, whereas the people who are buying NFTs to flip and make money don't necessarily buy art. Art is just like people buy art for super long term investment, right? And like there is short term gains to be had with buying high price, expensive, one of a kind art. Like, of course, the art market exists, but those people who are flipping profile pictures don't usually interfere as much, and the other way around as well.